Okay, so now I'll show you how to download and install a Python application that I have been developing, which is used for building catalytic cycle energy diagrams. So the application is already posted on GitHub, so you can go to this website, github.com/recalman/mechaSVG, and then you can just go ahead and clone or download this application. So the idea of this application is basically you have a graphical user interface in which you fill up the mechanistic pathways that you want to plot. You have many aesthetic options, and then you can generate those graphics as SVG files, which will look great even after you zoom in, right? Because they are scalable vector graphics. And you can afterwards edit them on a software like Inkscape. So after I finish the download, I can just show it on the folder. I'll just extract the files. And there is really only a single file which you have to run. It runs directly. If you have Python 3.5 or newer versions, you can just run it directly. Like in my case, I can just double click and it opens up. Or if you don't, or if you have Python but it does not open directly, you can open a terminal tab. So you can go here. You can type Python or Py for Windows and /mechaSVG.py. So you open it up, it shows you this window which you can rescale, right? You fill in the data as you wish here. So it actually has a button to generate random data for plausible or reasonable catalytic cycle. And then you can select here whether the species, for each and every species, you can select whether it is a transition state or intermediate. You can name the structure, you can give a value for free energy, a value for enthalpy. You can give a main title for the diagram, a y-axis title, an x-axis title. There are many aesthetic options here, but you can just, after you've filled in the data, you can just plot it with either this command here. It's going to save this file as an SVG file on the current directory, or you can just use the default software that your OS is using to open SVG files. So if you press default, in my case, it opens up the Windows Explorer. If instead you use the command, it will start the Inkscape software and it will open the same graph on Inkscape, in which you can actually edit the file in Inkscape. So this is the file. So you could actually edit it as you wish. So for example, you want to delete this or delete the main title, or really do whatever you want here, because it's an SVG file, so you can change stuff around if you want in any way you prefer. I'll just close it. So regarding the aesthetic options, you can actually plot more than one mechanistic pathways. You can plot several mechanistic pathways. I'm just gonna fill in data for one more here. And then again, when you plot, both of them are gonna show up. You can change colors. You can make them blue, for example. You can change the stripe width. You can make very thick lines. You can make connections between these two catalytic cycles. So if, for example, you want to connect on pathway A to pathway B, connecting, let's say, structure 1 of pathway A to structure 3 of pathway B, you can just go here and put 1 and 3, and then you can just make a connection. You can select any info you want to make this connection, any style you want to make this connection. You can include these enthalpy values, so you can just go include complementary values, and then they are going to be plotted as well. So when you have superposition here of 2 labels, you can actually try to correct that by just going, let's say this is pathway B, you can go to structure J and try to change the alignment of the labels. So you could put, let's say, middle, and then you can actually try to correct and fix those superposition. You can do various types of annotations on those values for either enthalpy or free energy. You can mark the transition states with a double dagger character, so they are now marked. Transition states are now marked with a double dagger character. There are some other options here to increase or decrease the size of the graph. Those you can also play around with them. If you included many pathways, but you want to remove them, you can of course remove them just by selecting them, and the data will still be stored here. You can actually save all of the data that is to the left of this screen as a state. So you can go save as, let's say, demo, overwrite it, and then you can close. All of this data is gonna be lost, but then since I saved it, you can just go there and load that particular state, and it will load all of that information. There are also a few other options related to catalytic cycles, so you can try to attempt to find span for catalytic cycles with this option. So it uses this, it's based on the work of Kozuki and Sheikh, which is this paper here. So it calculates turnover frequencies and the contribution to the turnover frequency for each transition state and for each intermediate. So it gives some other warning information here as well. And it also marks the transition states, that the transition state that is relevant for the turnover frequency, and the intermediate that is the most relevant for the frequency. So that's about the software. I hope you make good use of it. And